just knew it'd make you all smile. So I hope you enjoyed that. So we're going to get on to tonight's book, guys. We're looking this month at a great book called The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson. Give me some hearts on Periscope or give me a comment on Facebook if you've bought this yet. If you've not and you're watching on the replay on actsonthis.tv or you're on YouTube right now, you'll see a link in the description. Click on it and you better go over to Amazon to buy it. It's about a tenner. I'm going to very, very briefly, dead quick, go through the principles that we looked at over the last 3 weeks, because this is the last night we're going to be looking at this book. But basically, the principles of The Slight Edge are this, okay? For those on the audio experience, you're probably used to this if you've been listening the last 3 weeks. I'm showing some pictures now, and you're not going to see them, but I'm going to try and describe them. So ultimately, the slight edge, really, guys, makes us look at the insignificant things or seemingly insignificant things we think we do on a daily basis. Anything from deciding what you want to eat, to whether you're going to send that email, to whether you're going to go for that audition, whatever it is, slightly, just small decisions that you make, okay? And what happens is those small decisions, if they are good and you are making consistently good decisions, they don't have to be massive decisions, okay? But those small, consistently good decisions will take you from from failure up to the survival zone that you can see on your screen right now. However, what most people do is when they reach that survival zone and things aren't as bad as they have been for them, so they might go through 6 months of not eating well, of not going to the gym, feeling bad about themselves, they put on weight and then they go, right, that's it. They feel like a failure. I am not doing this anymore. And they start making good decisions every single day for a month or so. And then they get into the survival zone because they come up from failure and they're doing all right. They might have lost a few pounds. They feel good about themselves. Unfortunately, what happens then to most people is they stop doing those things that got them from failure to survival and they fall back down to failure. The principle of the slight edge is that if you just kept on doing those same things, making those same consistently good decisions that took you from failure to survival, they would take you from survival to success, okay? That was principle kind of behind the slight edge. That's what we learned in chapter 1, okay? Chapter 2, we looked at this, okay? Something about your philosophy, okay? Don't get hung up on the word philosophy. It's not super esoteric and intellectual, okay? Your philosophy is ultimately how you see the world, okay? And it affects how you hold your attitudes, your actions, which affect your results in the world. So, for instance, philosophies that we looked at, Nike's philosophy, just do it, okay? Their philosophy is just do it. You know what? It'd be a pretty good philosophy for most people to have because so many people, like we said, procrastinate, okay? When you have a good philosophy, a good outlook on the world, it creates good attitude. Okay, you walk around with a good attitude, which dictates your actions. You take big actions because you've got a positive attitude. By taking decent actions and making good decisions, you get great results, which creates your life. Okay, equally, if you've got a shit philosophy and you just are bitter and twisted and you feel that life happens to you and not for you, it creates a negative attitude. It creates negative actions, which create negative results, which creates a negative life. So we looked at that in week 2. I shared my philosophy for you. My philosophy for life is you will get everything you want out of your life and more by helping everyone else get what they want out of their lives. That's why I'm here right now on this scope tonight. I truly live by that, and it's since living by that for about the last 6-7 years, been the most life-changing kind of thing that I've ever done. Get yourself a positive philosophy or figure out what your philosophy is. You've all got one. Everyone's like, oh, I've not got a philosophy. No, you have. Look at how you are living your life right now, okay? And you will find out whether you have a good or bad philosophy on life. Last week, it was the most powerful part of the book so far. We looked at the effects of effectively compound interest. Remember, I told you some stories about the frogs that landed in the bucket of milk, cream. One of the frogs gave up after realizing he couldn't get out. He ended up drowning. Okay, the other guy just kept on swimming round and round and round in the bucket, doing a seemingly insignificant action until hours later he runs out of steam and he's like, right, this is out. I've got to give up. Expects he's going to sink to the bottom of the bucket. Realizes he's not. He's actually stood on something solid because he's churned the cream into butter. Okay, through what was seemingly a futile action. Okay, he was making a good decision, swimming and swimming and swimming for his life, but he didn't think it was going to build up to anything big. Oh, yes, it did. He used the principle of the slight edge. We looked at another kind of fable along those lines as well of a person who left his son 2 options in his will. He could either have a penny that doubled every single day as long as he didn't touch it, or he could have $1 million instantly. One of the sons took $1 million. One of them took the penny that doubled every single day. By 30 days, the son who was greedy and took the $1 million had lost it all and was about $2.5 million in debt. The guy who took the penny, and it was going to double every day, a seemingly insignificant amount. Okay, a penny's going to double to 2p, to 4p, to 8p, to 16p. By day 30, the guy had amassed, what did he amass by day 31? $5 million. Just by leaving it alone. And that was the principle of compound interest. And I applied this to the acting industry, and I showed you this. I went, look, this is how you can get a 37-year head start on your competition. Actor 1 tweets once a day. He posts, or she posts, one Instagram direct message per day to someone influential in the industry, a filmmaker, a director, a producer, a writer, a casting director, and sends 3 emails a week. It'd roughly take you about an hour a week to do that, guys. That's 17 points of contact a week, or 884 points of contact per year. Actor 2 is a lazy sod. Feels life happens to him or her. Negative philosophy, making seemingly insignificant decisions, but the wrong ones, making bad decisions. Sends 2 emails a month. That's all they're doing for their acting career. Ends up with 24 points of contact a year. So it would take Actor 2 37 years to do what Actor 1 did in 12 months. All right. So that was the principle of the slight edge, but in the form of compound interest, effectively. So tonight we're looking at chapter 4. It's the last chapter we can look at. There's loads more chapters after this, though. Go and get the book if you've not got it already. And it's called Master the Mundane. It's not a mundane chapter. It talks about mundane things, but actually in a way that it makes the mundane massive, all right? It can have a huge impact on your life. So I'm going to read this. If you're ready, give me some hearts on Periscope. Give me some Facebook comments if you're watching on Facebook. And we shall begin. I can see the hearts are coming through. I'm just refreshing Facebook. I can still see little Ari's video because I paused it, bless him. But he was still going. So yeah, it looks like. You know what? Do you know what it's not letting me do? Facebook. I think Facebook. It's actually stopped broadcasting on Facebook because I didn't realise for some reason. So that content of little Ari, it's all right on Periscope, must have been copyrighted. So they're going, right, we're going to have to just stop the Facebook broadcast. It's just a video of a little kid taking on a camera phone. I wouldn't expect that to be copyrighted. But am I going to be talking about the bulletproof stuff tonight? I might do, Patrick, may well do. I'll let you know about that in a bit, because, the full Bulletproof Actor program launches tomorrow morning. So if you've got any questions about that, absolutely drop me a comment after this, though, because I won't be able to see it on Periscope if I'm reading the book. Caroline's saying, what? Yeah, no, you wouldn't think that. It was mobile phone footage. I was like, that's clearly not going to be copyrighted, Caroline, but it looks like it has been by somebody. Interesting. So Facebook have gone, no, I'm going to stop your live broadcast. So apologies to those on Facebook. We've been rumbled. Can't believe it. Just what you get for trying to inspire the world. Anyway, it's all right. Most people watch on Periscope anyway, so we're still good. Don't worry about it. So this chapter starts with, it says, Master the Mundane. It says, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. We've all heard of that phrase, all right? So Jeff says, I arrived at the Phoenix airport at about 6:30 in the morning, having ample time before my plane left. I strolled around looking to see if there was anywhere I could get my shoes shined. The place was practically empty at the time, but before long I succeeded in finding a shoe shine stand. A woman in her mid to late 40s sat alone in one of the customer chairs, absorbed in a paperback. As I approached the stand, she looked up, smiled, and greeted me warmly, asking if I was looking for a shine. I told her I was. She got up from her seat and set a book down, first carefully folding over the corner of the page she'd been reading, then took up the tools of her trade and cheerfully ushered me into the chair. As she went on to work on my shoes, we started talking. She'd been shining shoes in this same spot day in and day out for 5 years. Back when she'd started, her teenage daughter was in junior high. Now she was an accomplished high school cheerleader, the woman told me proudly. In fact, she just won a high school cheerleading contest and was hoping to go to a cheerleading camp in Dallas that summer. Don't know how in the world I'm going to find the money to buy the uniform and plane ticket, she said, let alone the camp tuition. So this woman, doing a shoe shine job, daughter's making it as a cheerleader. Doesn't think she can afford it, though. Her stand was located right next to the service door, from which a stream of maintenance men and janitors began to come out, no doubt trading night shift for day shift. Every one of them stopped in passing to exchange greetings and bits of personal news with the shoeshine woman, who knew each one by name. It was clear they were all friends. In the few minutes I sat with her, I learned a good deal about the shoeshine woman and her life. She loved the family and liked people in general. She made friends easily and was outgoing and articulate, a natural-born communicator. She was a hard worker too, and it was clear that she enjoyed her work. As I sat there, getting an excellent shine on my shoes and enjoying the woman's sparkling conversation, I couldn't help thinking, what if? I'd noticed a title on her paperback. It was a popular romance novel, the kind of book people carry to pass the time and survive the stretches of occupational boredom by living vicariously in someone else's fictional life. There was a small stack of them sitting dog-eared by the wall next to her stand. She obviously had a great appetite for reading. What if, rather than sinking her teeth into the pages of those forgettable novels during the 15 and 20-minute gaps tucked in between customers, she'd spent the last 5 years reading books that were genuinely life-changing? What if that little stack of books had included Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, which we've done on Book Club. Go on actsonthis.tv if you want to look at the replays of that. Stephen Covey's The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. We've looked a little bit at that. Or Martin Seligman's Authentic Happiness. What would her life be like today if 5 years earlier she had changed just that one simple thing? Would she still be shining shoes for tips or be managing her own chain of shoe shine stands? Please understand, I'm not making a value judgment on modest incomes or simple occupations. I know people who work the humblest of jobs and whose lives are rich in relationships and joy, as I've known extremely wealthy people who were also extremely unhappy. And I'm not criticising popular novels either, but it was clear that this woman loved her little girl more than anything else in the world, and that it pained her not to be able to give her all the things she wanted and deserved. And it was equally clear that she had all the talent, personality and life skills it would have taken her to be able to accomplish that and much more, but something was missing. Okay, so he's not taking the mick out of her for the job that she's doing. She's just like, look, if she made that one change, that seemingly insignificant change on the book she's reading in those 15 to 20 minute gaps, could that then compound, like we saw last week, the compound interest of that into something much bigger? Could that something be as simple as 10 pages a day? Okay, could something so minor, so seemingly insubstantial, cause someone's life over time to take an entirely different trajectory? Yes, it absolutely could do that. I knew this to be true. I knew it because I'd seen the difference those 10 pages a day could make in my own life and in the lives of so many others. And I see that myself in these book clubs, guys. I hope you see the impact of this as well. We only read 10, 15 pages of this a week, but it has a big impact, I hope. So he says, look, I knew it absolutely could do that. Okay, yet the world was chock full of people exactly like this delightful shoeshine woman. People with their private hopes and dreams, and with all the marvellous personalities and attributes and inborn abilities they needed to realise those dreams, yet whose pathways forward failed to take them where they were hoping to go. People who already had so much going for them. As my new friend continued shining my shoes, I pictured her on a plane to Texas, surrounded by giggling, excited, happy teenagers on their way to cheerleading camp. A journey I was pretty sure would not be happening in this woman's reality. Feelings welled up in me, a mix of frustration and sadness, and for a moment I felt powerfully moved by a mental image of what might be. That day on the plane, I started writing this book. So that for him was like a thing to go, right, I need to help people. There's people going around their lives with such potential that I talk about in the Bulletproof Actor videos, guys. Everyone has literally limitless potential on here. Yet so many walk around with a limited potential by putting a glass ceiling on it themselves because of limiting beliefs about what they can and can't achieve. So he says, what did 5% do differently? And this is what I kind of want to focus on tonight as well, because there's really, honestly, only 5% of people in the world, in the acting industry, who have real success, which means there's 95% of people walking around unsuccessful on some level. It doesn't mean money is success. It just means 95% of people are unfulfilled. They're unhappy. They're struggling mentally, financially, whatever that is. So let's have a look at what they do differently. He says, how many people do you know whom you would call successful? I don't necessarily mean financially successful, although that certainly counts as one aspect of success. But I mean successful in every aspect of their lives. People who have vibrant health, plenty of good friends, people who are full of energy and curiosity, always learning new things and excited about life. Successful as in people whose lives are clearly working for them. You know exactly who I'm talking about. That person who makes you smile and feel instantly at ease. Even as you stand in awe of her accomplishments, the guy who is so genuinely engaged and plugged into life that he somehow makes you feel better about yourself, just being in his presence. People who seem to breathe success, to fill the space around them with it. Not that they don't have any problems or face challenges or suffer setbacks and hurdles like everyone else, but they always land on their feet. Things just seem to go right for them. They're winners in this game of life. How many people do you know who are like this? How many people do you know, genuinely? Give me some numbers on Periscope. How many people do you know that are like that? I don't know that many. Like, you know, I surround myself with people like that in terms of like my inner circle. But the majority of people, I know a lot of people, and I don't know, in the grand scheme of things, many people. Better late than never, says Christine. Good to see you, Christine. Not going to lie, I think of that, like, what, of me? Thanks, Alex. Appreciate that, man. One, says Dawn. Jake Gillenall, said somebody. One, yeah, Dawn's saying one. I don't know that many. Like, it's a handful of people, you know, who I can go for a coffee with on a Saturday morning or breakfast on a Sunday morning. I feel super energized, okay? You, Ross, and my coach, says Sharon. Appreciate it, Sharon. Thank you. No, genuinely, if I'm that, you know, one of them people for you, massively appreciate you, you know, you feeling that way. It's awesome. So Jeff says, my guess is not many, okay? Let's be honest, most people are struggling to keep their heads above water. Catherine Zeta-Jones, says Caroline. And I don't mean only financially. Struggling to keep from digging deeper and deeper into debt. Struggling to keep their health from slipping. Struggling to manage everything in their busy lives without stressing out. Struggling to manage everything in their friendships and relationships with everything else tugging away at them. Life often feels like a race with someone constantly moving the finish line further away. That's a good analogy, isn't it? Like a race and they just keep moving the finish line. Not for everyone, of course. There are those for whom life somehow just seems to work, but they sure aren't the majority. I've been looking at this for a few decades now. My observation is that about 1 in 20 is achieving a significant measure of his or her goals in life. Financial, professional, personal, in terms of relationships, in terms of health, in whatever you want to look at. 1 in 20, or about 5%. Which means that 95% are either failing or falling short. Which prompts a question. What's the difference between the 5% and the 95%? What are the 5% doing that the other 95% are not doing? I'll tell you what, it's not, he says. It's not hereditary, and I say this in the Bulletproof Actor videos. It's not education, it's not looks, it's not talent, it's not inheritance, it isn't chance, blind fate, or dumb luck. It's not even opportunity or karma. It isn't an abundance of sincere wanting and wishing. The 5% don't want success more than everyone else. They don't wish for it more, pray for it more, envision it more, or hope for it more. And it isn't that they deserve it more. Hey, we all want our lives to be successful. We all want for it and wish for it. And you know what? We all deserve it too. But the 5% get it, and the 95% don't. And why is that? There's only one difference, and that's the slight edge. That's what we've been looking at, all right? The 5% all understand the power of the slight edge and how it's working for or against them. They may not use the word slight edge to describe it. They may not even see what they are doing as being guided by a philosophy, but that's exactly what it is. I'll give you an example. A teenager named Steve. On his first day of high school, Steve filed into the auditorium along with all the other students for their first assembly. Sitting there in the middle of all those rows of seats, looking up at the brightly lit stage, he was struck by a compelling desire, and I bet you've all had this. He wanted to be a performer, all right? Most people on this scope have always wanted to be a performer. You can probably remember the first time it dawned on you where you wanted to be it. For me, this is crazy, right? I was watching Michael Jackson's Moonwalker in the cinema as about a 4.5, 5-year-old, and I watched that film of Michael singing and dancing, and I was like, shit, man, this is like... I need to like be on a stage or like, you know, performing at some point. And then like for years after that, I would just impersonate Michael Jackson at every kind of like school talent contest that there ever was. I can moonwalk the shit out of anything. Seriously, I'll show you one day. Incredible. So he says, right, this guy, you know, Steve wanted to be a performer. All right. There was a problem though. He couldn't sing, he couldn't dance, and he couldn't act. Thankfully, he says now as he looks back on those early days, perseverance is a great substitute for talent. Okay, Gary's laughing at my Michael Jackson now. Despite the fact that he didn't seem to have any special skills or talent for performing and was absolutely no good at being on stage, he set about doing it anyway. Nike's philosophy, just do it. Hour after hour, day after day, he studied magic tricks, taught himself the banjo, tried out lines on anyone who would listen, and quite a few who wouldn't, and worked at turning his quirky sense of humour into bits that would hopefully not completely fall flat in front of an audience. He did that for years, with little evidence, or at least not at first, that he was really getting anywhere. And 15 years later, Steve Martin was the single biggest audience draw in the history of stand-up comedy. You might have heard of Steve Martin. He may have started out as a teenager with no skills at all, but he had the slight edge working for him. The slight edge is what turned teenage Steve's sincere but awkward efforts into a box office phenomenon. The slight edge is the force behind the amazing power of compound interest. It's the force that allowed the delicate water hyacinth that we looked at last week, the last chapter last week, to conquer that pond, that allowed the persevering frog to escape with his life while his brother did not, and turn that wealthy man's first son's penny into $10 million. It's the steady, repeated action of water that can wear even the hardest rock to a smooth surface. Whatever you're after, whatever you want to create in your life, or whatever kind of life you most passionately want to live, the slight edge is the way to get it. And that is the difference between the 5% and everyone else. They don't know how to use the slight edge to get what they want in life. No, let's amend that slightly. They know how to use the slight edge to get what they want in life, and they do it. They do the thing and gain the power. What's that? That is the difference between the 5%. Oh, yeah, so the 5% do it and get the power. If you will learn to understand and apply the slight edge, I will guarantee you that in time, and chances are less time than you would imagine, you will have what you desire. You will be among the 5%. You'll be successful, and when I say guarantee, I mean that literally. If you genuinely apply the simple principle in your own life and don't see significant improvement, we will refund every penny you paid for this book. Okay? So, I want to look at so many labels now as the $10 million question. What's happening on here? Must admit, didn't like this book until this chapter this evening. This is all so true, says Fanny. There you go, Fanny. See, it's perseverance, though, isn't it? Perseverance, boom, chapter 1, 2, 3, whoosh. Okay? Because this is the whole thing. I guess it kind of feeds into the whole overnight success thing that's never an overnight success. It's always 10, 15 years in the making. And sometimes, as we're going to read now, it seems like you're not making that much progress, and then suddenly overnight, all of those little things you've done compound into something big. You get that opportunity, you're given that break, and bang. So the $10 million question. Here's the most amazing thing about Steve Martin's story. The things he did to develop his stage skills were not complicated or difficult. They just took practice. And this could be you in your acting career, okay? They also weren't very exciting. The idea of being up on stage in front of millions may sound terrifying and exhilarating, but when you're standing up in front of a nearly empty coffee shop and no one's paying any attention, and you're trying out a line you've tried 30 times already with maybe a few tiny tweaks to see if it works any better, it's not so terrifying, it's not so exhilarating, it's not so exciting. In fact, the things Steve had to do to refine his craft were often downright mundane. The same thing holds true for success in any dimension, from health to relationships, to career success, to financial success, all of those things. You're going to agree with me. There's nothing exciting about some of the stuff you've got to do. If you want to actually guarantee yourself success. Fanny's saying yes in big letters. So he says, look, as I said above, if you apply the slight edge consistently in your life, you will find yourself among the 5% and see the goals and aspirations in your life coming to pass. And you will achieve those aims, goals, and dreams by doing mundane, everyday, simple things. And that sounds outrageously oversimplified, I know, but it's the truth. I've seen it happen again and again. If you learn to understand and apply the slight edge, your life will become filled with hundreds of thousands of small, seemingly insignificant actions, all of them genuinely simple, none of them mysterious or complex. In other words, you have to master the mundane, and those actions will create your success. And here's a truly amazing thing about it. Those simple things, the things that spell success, they're not only simple, they're also easy to do. So simple and so easy, in fact, that anyone could do them. All right, and we're going to look at in a minute of why that also makes them so easy not to do. Because that's the key here. They are easy to do, but God, they're easy not to do, okay? So by now, you've probably got a question burning in your brain. If those things are so simple and so easy to do, how come only 5% do them? Why don't more people do them? In fact, why don't everyone do them? The world of finances is one of the easiest places to see the power of the slight edge in action. Everyone knows about the power of compound interest, right? And we looked at it last week. Wrong, right? Everyone thinks they know about the power of compound interest, but most people don't, not really. If they did, they'd be using it, and clearly most people are not. And then he goes on to talk about a few other laws as well. One called Parkinson's law goes like this. He said, work expands to fill the time available for its completion. Here's how that looks when you apply it to the world of personal finances. Whatever I have, I spend. Actually, in today's world, it usually means something more like, whatever I have, I spend that plus a little more. Okay? How hard is it to put aside a few dollars a day or a little each week? It's ridiculously easy, yet most of us don't do it. The United States has one of the highest per capita income rates in the world and one of the lowest savings rates. And I bet the UK is exactly the same. Why is that? Well, take food and health as an example. Eating offers one of the best everyday examples of the slight edge there is, simply because eating is something we all do every day throughout our lives. And there's no big mystery to what healthy eating looks like. Yet, overweight and obesity continues to be a huge and growing problem in the United States and the UK. We're the most overweight country, guys, in Europe, soon to be out of Europe. But in Europe, we're the most obese country there is in the UK. 2 in every 3 in the States is overweight. 2 in every 3 Americans are overweight. And almost 1 in 3 qualifies for the definition of obese. In the past 30 years, obesity in kids has tripled. This isn't news, though. Americans know they're overweight. In fact, we spend huge amounts of money on diet books and diet programs to help us lose that burdensome extra weight. There's more than 30,000 fitness clubs in the United States, all aimed at serving the national desire to lose weight and be fit. And it's not just a question of being a little too heavy or how we look. Nutrition is one of the most significant factors in society's major killers: heart disease, cancer, and diabetes. Most of us are literally digging our graves with our teeth. That's powerful. You could well be digging your grave with your teeth. Caroline says it's with her big bum, but it could be with your big teeth. Oh, well, with your not big teeth. I've got big teeth. And we know all this, yet clearly the majority of us aren't doing anything about it. And why not? Okay, if slight edge habits are so easy to do and will lead to phenomenal success, why doesn't everyone do them? And this is literally the $10 million question. And we're going to look at just a few brief answers. Reason number 1, you're not doing the slight edge, is because the things that you need to do, making these great decisions, they're easy to do. And you're going to go, what? They're so easy. I mean, like I said before, they're so easy to do, they're also really easy not to do. The first answer is one I learned from Jim Rohn, says Jeff. The simple things that lead to success are all easy to do, but they're also just as easy not to do. It's easy to save a few bucks a day, and it's easy not to, or a few pounds a day if you're in the UK, but it's easy not to. It's easy to do 15 minutes of cardio a day, walk a brisk mile or 2. Truly easy to do, or not. It may not be easy to get into graduate school and pour yourself into PhD studies for 80 hours a week for a few years straight, but here's something that is easy. It's easy to pick up an inspiring, educational, life-changing book like The Millionaire Next Door or Think and Grow Rich or The Magic of Thinking Big and read 10 pages a day. Just 10 pages a day. So easy to do and so easy not to do. Okay? This book club is so easy to do for me to sit here for an hour and read you guys a book. Equally, it could be so easy for me not to do it and just, sit with a brew, doing nothing at all. Remembering to tell your wife, this is important if you're in a relationship, remembering to tell your wife or husband that you love them and do that every day. What could be easier than that? To do or not to do. So while anyone could do these successful actions, most won't, simply because it's so easy to skip them. And the tragic irony of it is, that doesn't actually end up making their lives any easier. We're all doing simple things anyway. Unsuccessful people choose what they think is the path of least resistance, though, but it really isn't. Depends on the partner, says Steve, whether you tell them you love them every day. Fundamentally, we all take pretty much the same actions every day. We eat, we sleep, we think, we feel, we talk, and we listen. We have relationships, and we fill each of our hours one way or another with a sequence of mundane little actions and tasks. Gold medal marathon runners eat and sleep. So do people who are 30 pounds overweight. Successful entrepreneurs think and feel and have relationships with other people. And so do those who are broke or living on the streets. People who make lots of money read books. People who are broke read books too. They just choose different books. A seemingly insignificant choice. The successful and unsuccessful both do the same things, basically, in their lives day in and day out. Yet the things successful people do take them to the top, while the things unsuccessful people do take them down and out. So that's the difference. The difference is their awareness, their understanding and application of the slight edge in their life and work, okay? It says, because the slight edge is always working, whether it's for you or against you, the slight edge is already at work in your life right now, and it will be every day, every moment. So have a look at like the decisions you made today that are like seemingly insignificant. Did you have something shit for your dinner? Did you pick up a gossip mag rather than a book that's going to help your mind grow and, and enhance your, grow your horizons, enhance your knowledge of something, Look at that. So that's the first reason people don't use the slight edge, because it's too easy not to. All right, it's very easy to do, but equally it's easy not to do. The second reason is, this is so important. Very often the results are invisible. All right, initially at least. Okay. The second reason people don't do the little things that add up to success is that at first they don't add up to success. Okay, the doomed frog that we heard about, who just quit paddling straight away and went to the bottom of the cream and died. He wasn't seeing success straight away, so he gave up. Okay, he'd been doing it as hard as he could, and it obviously wasn't having any effect, or so he thought. At least not one that he could see at the time. And that's the problem. The things that create success in the long run don't look like they're having any impact at all in the short run. A penny doubled in 2 cents, okay? It's 2 cents, big deal. Take $2 a day and stick it into savings instead of into an expensive coffee drink, and at the end of the week, you've got $14. Wow, big deal. Of course, that was exactly how my mother became a millionaire. Jeff's mum became a millionaire by using compound interest and putting money away. We looked at this. If you just put £240 away every month for 17 years and then let it go on the compound interest, by the time you retired, you'd be a millionaire. If you started doing that around about 21 years old. If you're over 21, you'd have to wait a little bit longer, but you still make a shit ton of money. So it says, yeah, that's of course how my mum became a millionaire. But most people wouldn't do that because you don't see the million in front of you when you do the saving. The results are too far in the future. They're invisible. That is, unless you know how to look through the lens of the slight edge. So things you're doing in your acting career today, whether you made that correspondence, you tweet your show reel, whether you apply for that job, whether you read that news article on what was going on in the industry that might have given you a heads up on what a production company is making right now, and then you went on LinkedIn and you made that decision to track down the writer or the producer or even a runner in that production company on LinkedIn, and you sent them a message and you emailed them or whatever. That's a slight edge. That little decision that you could have made today, can have a big impact tomorrow or next week. You might not get a reply today. You might not get a reply for 3 months off somebody, and then boom. I reached out to a production company offering my services for read-throughs and stuff. Months ago. Months and months and months ago. Got this back today. This is genuine shit, man. Let me find it. There you go. What does it say? Those on the audio experience, apologies. I'm just looking at my email on my computer. Let's have a look. Hi, Ross. Hope you're well. Didn't even know this person until today. Can't seem to find a number for you, so I thought I'd just try you on email. We think we might need some readers for our read-through on Monday the 3rd of July and wondered if you might be available. We're meeting in Media City, blah, 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 blah. Boom. And there you go. I'll end up at another read-through. It might not seem like I get anything from that, any benefit from that. I get paid a little bit of money. But the contacts that I make there could be a runner on that. It could be a first AD, a second AD. It could be a costume person, a makeup person. You don't know where those connections are going to, take you. And that was something that I put into action months and months and months ago that I didn't see a result for until today. So the things that you do at the time, you make that good decision. You might not get a result straight away. It doesn't mean you don't do them though. All right. You know what you're supposed to eat, he says, okay? We all do. Fresh fruits and vegetables, complex carbs, salads, whole grains, less meat, more fish, and poultry and less beef. You know it. I know it. We all know it. So why do so many of us still go out and chow down cheeseburgers and fries every day? I'll tell you why. Because it won't kill us. Not today. Okay, if you ate a cheeseburger and immediately suffered a near-fatal heart attack, would you ever go near a cheeseburger again? I doubt it. It may take 20 or 30 years, but when you add up the compounded interest on all that high-fat, artery-clogging dietary mayhem, eventually your poor, overworked heart just quits, stops dead, and so do you, okay? It's easy to eat well, but it's also easy not to, and to go on eating the food that will eventually kill us because it won't kill us today. And you've got to look at what effectively is going to have a positive impact on you down the line, all right? Choosing to have a glass of wine tonight before you go to bed ain't going to kill you today. Choosing to have one every day this week isn't going to kill you this week. But that will add up to, maybe, 4 bottles a week. Could end up, them being 20, it'd be 16 bottles a month. And then over time, over years, you go, wow, actually, you know what? When I look at my consumption of alcohol and calories over the space of the last 3 years, it's added up to insane. What would it be? Like 60, 72 bottles a year, 144 bottles every 2 years. It's that compound interest that adds up, guys. It's the same in every decision you make in your life, okay? So that's the second reason we don't use a slight edge, because we often don't see the results immediately, okay? It's why people give up on the gym. You're mental. You expect to go to the gym for 2 weeks and you want to come out lean and ripped and healthy. You take that literally when you see these cover models on the front of Men's Health and magazines like that. Guys, it's a decade, 15, 20 years for them to look like that. Unless you're going to get exotic and start juicing yourself up and taking steroids and God knows what else, which will kill you anyway. That's just going to take dedication of the mundane, going to the gym every single day, 5 times a week for 10 years. That's what's going to happen. Most people give up after 3 weeks because I'm just not seeing results. I'm obviously not cut out for this. Bullshit. Suffocate your excuses. Reason number 3, okay, why people do not... I got a 6-pack after a day, says Steve. A 6-pack of skull, mate. You didn't get a 6-pack in your body. Or maybe you did if you got a super low percentage body fat. Maybe you did. The reason 3 that we don't use a slight edge is because they seem insignificant, okay? The third reason most people live out their entire lives without ever grasping how the slight edge is working in their lives is that it just seems like those little things don't really matter. So I skipped today at the gym, so what? What's a day? Hey, it's just a cheeseburger, what's the fuss? The difference between success and failure isn't dramatic. In fact, the difference between success and failure is so subtle, so mundane that most people miss it. They may not realise they have a philosophy, but they do, and it goes like this. What I do right now doesn't really matter. That's their philosophy. What I do right now doesn't really matter. It's not hard to see how people come to the understanding of life, come to this understanding of life. I don't blame them. It's completely understandable. It's just not the truth. The truth is what you do matters. What you do today matters. What you do every day matters. Successful people are those who understand that the little choices that they make matter. And because of that, they choose to do things that seem to make no difference at all in the act of doing them. And they do them over and over and over until the compound effect kicks in. There's little things that will make you successful in life, that will secure your health, your happiness, your fulfillment, your dreams, are simple, subtle, mundane things that nobody will see, nobody will applaud, nobody will even notice. They are those things that at the time you do them often feel like they make absolutely no difference. Things are ridiculously easy to do, but just as easy not to do. Things that don't seem to bring you any visible results at first, things that seem so insignificant they couldn't possibly matter. They are the 3 reasons people do not implement the slight edge. So I'll recap basically on the essential points from chapter 4, but do you get it? It's a pretty simple kind of lesson. God, I've done a 360 turnaround on this book, says Fanny. It's a great book, Fanny, seriously. So many people, massively successful people I know have recommended this book to me. And I mean, over the last year, I've probably been recommended it 6-7 times. Finally got to buying it and reading it. And it is like, it's just a really easy concept. Once you dig into these first 4 chapters, it's a very easy concept to get your head around, okay? So the essential points from this chapter, only 5%, guys, right? 1 in 20 people achieve the level of success and fulfillment they hope for. You might be in that 95% right now who's not achieving what they want out of their lives. The other 95%, so 5% achieve it. The other 95% either fail or fall short. The only difference between the two is the slight edge. The secret to the 5% success is always in mundane, easy things that anyone could do. Okay? And 3, people don't consistently do simple things for 3 reasons. 1, while they're easy to do, they're also easy not to do. You don't see any results at first, and they seem insignificant, like they don't matter, but they do. Okay? And that's it. That's the whole lesson from chapter 4. So we need to like look at, and you give me some suggestions of things that seem insignificant in your life, in your acting career, that you're doing or you're not doing, and how you could either change those up or start doing the things that you need to be doing. Because, and also, you know what, it might not even be directly related to your acting career. Because I say all the time that every part of your life affects every part of your life, if you are feeling in great shape and you are fueling your body with stuff, the great food on a daily basis, your body composition is lean and you feel healthy and you're working out, that really affects up here. And you feel confident, you feel ready for the day. You know, when you work out in the morning, you're getting dressed and you put your clothes on. My t-shirts fit me really well. I feel fresh and like I'm ready to face the day. I've already done my workout. I'm looking at my best. And then that affects how I show up in the world. It would affect absolutely how I walked into the room at an audition, which would then affect my confidence to those people, their opinion of me. It would then affect the way that I read for the part I was going for. If I do a good job of that, I walk out of that happy. That affects my relationships when I get home or with my friends. If my relationships are good with my friends and I'm happy, then I have more chance of making a positive impact on them. That ripple effect happens. They then go and they're happy with their friends, they're happy with their friends, and it might come full circle back because one of their friends might come into contact with me or one of the members of my family, and then they're happy as well. That's how I believe karma goes around. I don't believe it's a mystical force like, if I do this, someone's watching me and they'll punish me. No, I believe karma is like a really true thing via like a ripple effect. You know, I can go out and make someone's day better. They can then make someone else's day better because they're in a better position to do that. The next person whose life they make better may come into contact with me or a member of my family or someone I love or care about. Thus, that's how karma works. So yeah, you know, it doesn't have to be a decision you make in your acting career. It could be a decision to just get on top of your health. It could be a decision to get on top of your relationship. It's going to make every part of your life better because every part of your life affects every part of your life. Caroline says passing on the energy. Yeah, it's true. It really is true, you know. When you turn around and you buy somebody, I use the reward I get at Starbucks. I've said this a few times. You do have quite a spiritual Eastern philosophy, don't you? I'm super spiritual, Fanny, honestly. I'm not religious. I believe at the moment, and I have nothing against religion, but God, it's causing some issues in the world right now. I just wish people would just let everybody just believe in what they want. You know, and if I don't believe in the same stuff as you, it's fine. If you don't believe in the same stuff as me, it's fine. Just live and let live. Don't ram anything down someone's throat or persecute them if they don't believe the same as you. It's just causing a lot of problems right now. But spirituality, I really believe in that, and you know, just good energy and just like I say, making positivity louder. Quantum physics, I don't know about that, Caroline. Don't know much about it, I'm afraid. But yeah, just have a think this week as we move forward. What decisions you are making day in and day out in your life. Steve says he believes in bacon and that's his god. Okay, if that's what you like, Steve. Absolutely, but it's important. You know, every decision you have made has brought you to this point right now. If you listen on the audio experience right now, your decision to pull your iPod out of your pocket at the time, or your phone, or whatever you're listening on at that time and hit play, has brought you to hearing these words right now at the exact moment you are hearing them. You've done that. Your decision did that. Not my decision to put this online or anything like that. You know, effectively my decision has played a part in that, but your decision to hear my words right now, what I am saying this second, is because you press play at that moment that you did, and you might have pressed play at a moment where you really needed to hear this, or, you know, I mean, literally to the second. You know, you might have just stopped to press play, and that has just stopped you from being hit by a car that was going to knock you out 10 minutes down the road. You're now going to miss it by a few yards. It's crazy. It blows my mind when I think of shit like that. It's like literally every decision you have ever made in your life has brought you to here. You've got to take full responsibility, full accountability for it, but make sure you are choosing the best decisions you can possibly make, consciously anyway. Some decisions you can't, but you know, when you are conscious of the decision, make it. People confuse this with fate, however. Yeah, you know, again, like I say, I don't believe, you know, this whole, you know, I was meant to go into that coffee shop at that moment and meet my my wife or something like that. You know, I believe, you know, that your actions absolutely dictate, you know, your outcome. But I believe, you know, for that to happen as well, for you to actually, you know, meet somebody in a coffee shop and it to be like almost like destiny brought you together. you've got to be in a certain headspace, haven't you? You know, to even like approach somebody or speak to somebody. You've got to be in a good place anyway. You're only going to have that kind of confidence if you're already making good decisions in your life. You know, occasionally there's been little things that happen in my life where I've gone, wow, that's a crazy coincidence. That was almost like it was meant to happen. And it's lovely when that kind of thing does happen. But I do believe that you absolutely are pretty much 99.9% the master of your own destiny, like through the decisions that you make and how you respond to situations that sometimes you can't control. So have a look this week at what you are choosing to do. What you're choosing to do upon waking, that's very important. Get a decent morning routine. What you are choosing to do in terms of, you know what time you go to bed. You know, that's a seemingly insignificant decision that completely screw up your next day if you get it wrong. You know, and your life if you do it. You know, if you go to bed at 2 o'clock in the morning tonight, and it's a one-off, might not have that much of an impact on you tomorrow. If you do that for the next month, you get in your circadian rhythms, like as in like how your body, you know, works in terms of its sleep cycle, gets completely shifted, and then that's just your habit. You will then get up late most days. From my experience and what my intuition tells me, I'm not an expert on sleep, but what I would imagine from what I've experienced myself is that when I get out of bed late, I mean, I don't. I'm up every day like 6:15 now. Unless Saturday and Sunday, I'm not. But if you get out of bed late, when I used to do this a couple of years back and I'd work late at night, my rhythm was all over the place, I'd feel like shit. I'd get up at 11 o'clock, I'd feel so guilty that I'd laid in till 11, half 11, sometimes, you know, getting on for 12 o'clock. I'd get up, you know, by that point I'd be like, oh, half the day's done. You know, you see on social media, people are already out doing stuff, and you're like, oh, I'm really behind now, and then that gets you into a funk. It's just like a perpetual cycle of shit. And that's just a decision of what time you go to bed. I have too little sleep. It's my issue, 4 to 5 hours a night. If that, you should get some more sleep. And Steve's in bed by 4 a.m. Not too bad. Honestly, one of the most life-changing things I did for me productivity-wise in the last 2 years was choosing consciously. And you know what? The first few days was hard because I felt like a child, like, oh, I'm going to bed really early. Oh, I felt, you know, I'm at a curfew kind of bedtime. Getting to bed by 10:30. But then it made me get up at the latest 6:30. I'm often, you know, well, every day, Monday to Friday, I've been at the gym, I've worked out, I've had my breakfast, I've had a shower, and I'm sat at my desk earlier than I would have been getting up if I'd have stayed in my old shitty cycle of sleep. So much more productive. And that's a seemingly insignificant decision that adds up and compounds over time. That's a classic example of me back then not understanding what the slight edge was. I was using it, but I was using it so wrong. It works in reverse, the slight edge, guys. You can make good decisions and have compound interest for greatness, or you can make shit decisions and have compound interest for a shit life. You know, so I'd love to change my sleep and food intake, says Fanny. Well, shoot, you've got the power to do that. No one's, you know, forcing you to eat what you're eating, you know. And just get on top of your sleep if you can. I get up a bit earlier than I want automatically now, I think, out of habit. It's annoying. So you know what, Gary? Embrace it, man. The beautiful thing is, guys, again, let's play this game. I don't have to, I get to. I don't have to get up out of bed at 6:15 in the morning. I get to get up out of bed at 6:15 in the morning. What a privilege it is to be able to get up at that time, walk to the gym in a lovely, peaceful, you know, country, peaceful walk, and then invest in my health for an hour and a half, because there's people who can't do that. There's people who can't get out of bed. You don't want to get out of bed in the morning because you're lazy. There's people who literally, I know, cannot get out of bed because they've got motor neuron disease. They would give anything to swap places or have your legs, have your arms. But you can't be asked to get out of bed because you're tired because you fucked up on your sleep the night before. This is what I mean about self-awareness. Be so grateful for the fact you can get out of bed. And I promise you, I work out with a lot of OAPs in the morning, guys, because they're normally the only people who are up. And it makes me critically, acutely aware of mortality, because some of those people who were working out with me last year have died and aren't working out anymore because they were at the end of their life. They were in their 80s. Malcolm, bless him, awesome guy, died of cancer earlier this year. Used to see him in the gym every morning, most mornings till he got ill anyway. Later on in life, you know, he still, even actually when he was very ill, would still try and make it to the gym. It was just such a part of what he did. You know, but he was at the end of his life. I get to go to the gym every day and work out and invest in my health to hopefully live a longer life. Malcolm, not Bert, Fanny. But Fanny say Malcolm died? Yeah, Malcolm. Bert is like my main man at the gym. Bert's in his 80s, legend. He's all right. He's still fit and healthy. He tells me every day about Normie, his wife, and it was love at first sight for him and Normie. And she didn't want anything to do with him at first, but he wooed her. And he gives me loads of relationship advice. He's a legend. He's really cool. Bert's great. I'll get Bert on a Periscope one night or something. He's awesome. But yeah, hang out with some old people for a bit, guys. That'll make you acutely aware of your mortality and how lucky you are to actually be able to do the things you get to do today. Because one day, trust me, one day, and I hope we all are in this situation, we'll all be 90 one day. And at that point, I promise you, you will not be probably physically able to chase the dreams that you are able to chase today. And you will look back on your life and go, oh, for fuck's sake, what was I doing in my 30s and 40s when I had the world at my feet and I was shit scared of actually going for it? Because I had nothing to lose. None of us have got anything to lose. I mean, you have literally nothing to lose by chasing what you want out of life. You just have, ultimately, a great adventure. Just trying to get what you want. And just seeing what happens and meeting great people and, meeting some not great people, but learning from that. Every outcome has a lesson, Sometimes you win, sometimes you learn. That's it. You never lose. You just learn. So that's the message for tonight. Small things that seem insignificant, the positive small things are very easy to do, but equally very easy not to do. So let's just make sure we're doing as many of them as we can consciously this week. And one thing you can do, I'll give you a little bit of information on this because Patrick mentioned it before. If you really, really want to make a positive decision in your life, that's probably not insignificant. It's actually for some people, it's a big decision because it's, it's a relatively, big investment for some people. I open tomorrow this program, guys. So it's only the third time it's ever launched. It's called Bulletproof Actor, Unstoppable Confidence, Infinite Success. And it's available from 10 a.m. tomorrow. This is literally the only high-performance mindset coaching program for actors on this planet. It's the culmination of over 12 months' work to actually put this course together. It consists of 33 HD videos. Here's some stuff on the course. This is all going to be available to you guys tomorrow at bulletproofactor.com. 33 HD videos. It's like 5 hours of training. MP3 audio on all those videos if you want to listen when you're out and about or you want to take it to the gym with you. Full colour PDF workbooks, an exclusive Facebook group, optional VIP weekly live calls where we all get together online. Here's all the units you go through. It's ultimately about breaking down all of your limiting life story, all your limiting beliefs that contribute to your limiting life story you're probably living now. Things that are keeping you in your comfort zone, things that are holding you back that might have held you back for decades. And ultimately we obliterate them. We absolutely knock the crap out of them. And we use, in a lot of the program, it uses positive psychology strategies to really flip those things that are actually limiting you now and actually completely change. It's a paradigm shift in your thinking, completely change the way you look at those things and actually use those same things that are limiting you to fuel the shit out of you moving forward. We've got VIP live coaching from anywhere on any device. We do that once a week for 5 weeks. There's a little bit about me, very cheesy picture. Here's some testimonials. That's Rachel Shenton, you'll know from Hollyoaks and Switched at Birth in America. Some more testimonials there. It's a bit about whether the program's right for you. Got some bonuses for the first 75 VIPs. Got an exclusive podcast with a high-performance coach called Mark Dharma from LA. Guy charges insane money for coaching millionaires and billionaires. But he's going to do a live webinar for the first 75 people who join the program. Same with Luis Diaz. He's a high-performance physicality coach. Chris Stone, my main man, he's going to do a bonus webinar on showreels. 30-day money-back guarantee. If you don't think you've got value from it, I'll absolutely give you money back. This is not a money-making thing. This is absolutely to have huge impacts, and not a single person who's been through the program has asked for their money back yet. So I'm super, super upfront. All the risk is on me because I know if you take this program, you won't want it back. There's 3 courses available. 3 pricing structures. There's the independent study program, which is 197 quid. You get lifetime access to it. You do it at your own pace, in your own time. You get email support from me. You can leave comments under each lesson. And ultimately, you basically go through it on your own. There's a VIP coaching pack, which is where you get all the bonuses, and that's $279, but it includes those 5 weekly calls with me and the rest of the group, where you basically get one-to-one coaching and group coaching, and we do some stuff that's not involved in the self-study program. And you can actually spread the cost. If you're like, 279 quid, God, I can't afford that. You can spread the cost by getting it for £99 for 3 months effectively. You pay £99 up front, £99 30 days later, and £99 30 days after that. Got some case studies here of people who've already been through the course, how Rachel Shenton crushed the limiting beliefs on time and smashed it in Hollywood. There's Bill Bradshaw, who secured a guest lead on Emmerdale very recently by bulletproofing his mindset very shortly after completing the course earlier this year. You can watch everything that they have been through in those little testimonials there and little case studies, and some frequently asked questions at the bottom there. This opens tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. UK time. There's limited places. I actually let a few people in early before, so there's 67 places left on VIP now from 75. These people have been waiting on the waiting list since like November and were just bugging me on email. So I'm like, you will get a place right now if you want one. But this is available tomorrow. Keep an eye on your inbox if you've already got the free videos that I've been putting out recently. You can watch a video here all about the program as well. Literally, this tells you everything about it and goes through the entire process of exactly what you're going to get out of the program. So you can have a look at that. The registration closes in 9 days. 9 days and 1 hour. It closes on Friday night, next Friday night at midnight. If you don't get in this time, I can't, just from time constraints, guys, I can't dedicate any more of my time to this program again this year. It's going to take up a lot of my time over the next 2 months. It's 2 of the most exciting months of my year, but I can't do it again. So if you don't get in on this intake, I won't be able to launch this again until 2018. And I don't know when in 2018, because I've got a few other things that I'm committing to, and I never want to commit to this program unless I can give it absolutely my all and deliver to you guys way more than you would ever expect of me. So get on there tomorrow morning from 10 a.m. if you want to register, bulletproofactor.com. And I would love to work with you. Honestly, like it's just incredible. It's an incredible 5 weeks of live training plus the 3 bonus webinars. But you get access to a group on Facebook that's totally private. It's nothing like the Act on This Facebook group. It's completely separate. And you'll make friends for life in there. You get accountability coaches. You'll take each other through the program. You get to know people on a seriously, like, quite intimate level. People share a lot of their baggage, a lot of the shit that's holding them back. People have been through all kinds of things in their life. Some really serious things as well that we've still managed to completely turn around for them. Things that happened to them as a child, some horrific stuff. People who've, kind of experienced either suicide in the family, stuff like that, or, with themselves. Lots of like serious things that really limit people a decade, 15, 20 years after these things happened. And so many people, I'm not a psychologist in terms of like a clinical psychologist or, a doctor, a psychiatrist, anything like that. But so many people have been like, you know what, this program and actually speaking in this group environment has been way better than any therapy I've ever had. So it's genuinely like super powerful. I'm super proud of it, and the comments I get are just absolutely incredible. So if you want to check that out, bulletproofactor.com tomorrow morning. And if you've got any questions, drop me an email, ross@bulletproofactor.com. So massively appreciate you. Thank you so much. We'll leave it at that for tonight, but thank you so much for watching. I hope The Slight Edge has been a good book for June. We're going to look at a brand new book next week for the whole of July. If you've got any suggestions for that, hit me up in the Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/ActsOnThisTV. Massive apologies to those who were watching on Facebook before until we got shut down because I played that video of little Harry, the little boy. I don't know who's copyrighted that. It's such a shame. It's a brilliant video. I just knew it'd make everyone smile. That's why I wanted to play it. I'm going to go to bed early, says Alex. Excellent, mate. So am I. It's, 7 minutes past 10. I will be in bed by 10:30. Up at 6:15 and getting back from the gym tomorrow about 9 and getting very excited to open the doors to Bulletproof Actor at 10 o'clock. So thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate you. Don't take your investment in me lightly and the time you spend with me on these Periscopes. Massively appreciate you. And I will be back very soon. Thanks, Julia. Thanks, Caroline. Thanks for being here, everybody. And I'll see you guys soon. All right. Bye for now.